He's a metaphysician, he's a naturopath, life enhancement technician, and also a fasting therapist. This brother is a he consults people from all over the world, and he has been doing his work as a vessel for some 23, 25 years. So we're very, very happy, very blessed to have him here with us once again in Atlantis. So let's please give him a warm Atlantis, Black Lanta, strong black hand, nice warm welcome. Brother Phil.
Y'all are sweet. Give thanks. Unnecessary, but that was sweet. Have we done this before? Is everything that we're going through at this time as entities of light, is this new? Seems new, doesn't it? And the powers that be want us to continue to believe that somehow in this human race that they are the front runners. And that's what it is. That's why they call us a race. Because it's about trying to outdo the next man to get to a particular point that we have chosen as the delicious point, the point where everybody has the ownership of everything. Information, history. They say that the victors write the story, his own story. So it's the victors that write the history. But things become a little bit gray as they begin to unravel in front of us now as people of color. We have to give thanks to those elders like Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, and those like Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, who've been doing the work of unearthing the truth behind who we are. And now it's up to us to take it to the next phase. Who were we even beyond the earth? Because it seems that this Caucasoid, he has this plan for us to never know. He keeps writing our stories like Kunta Kinte. Keeps changing our names, changing the faces, so that it looks like him. New movie coming out called The Mummy Returns. You ever saw the first Mummy? First Mummy was interesting because they got a South African to play Imhotep. And he'll be playing Imhotep again. But each time they dig into the ruins, it's all right. They don't count. The one that counts is the one that's up here. Thank you. Each time they dig into the ruins for us, for themselves, to find out who they are, who do they find? It must be frustrating. Every time you go looking for yourself, you see black face with big lips. I'm ready now. This is the mind control part of it. We're going to start with the extraterrestrial start of it. Have we been here before?
Yeah.
Yes. Have we been other places?
Yes.
You ever know black folks to stay one place for a long period of time? Black folks always moving. So what makes you think that we were staying one place on one planet for over 51,000 years? You know niggas sit still for 51,000 years? Do you ever think we would sit still for 51,000 years? Hell no. But we have evidence. Now the name of this particular piece is Extraterrestrial Civilizations, the Archaeological Evidence. Part 1. I want to get to the mind control because that's going to be the heavy part of tonight. But what I wanted to do was to dispel this rumor going around that Bobby Hemmett and myself are flaked out. Because we believe in spaceships and reptilians coming down to suck your blood. That's the mind of someone who has not yet explored past the boundaries of their own limited purview. To believe, like some of our earlier people believed, that somehow Kemet was the only civilization people as dynamic as us could have put up here so many thousands of years ago, would be to limit us or constrain us to a period in time where we blew out like a firefly. We shone and blew out. But evidence shows that even today our genius continues to march forward under the worst of circumstances. Could you imagine what we were like under the best of circumstances? So we got to flip the script and stop thinking that just because we fight a nationalist battle and that we got to deal with this devil in the streets every day, that we are to limit ourselves to one part of the battle, because he is fighting us on all fronts. He is stealing from all fronts. He is juxtaposing on all sides. So we must take our battle not only to the streets and into the political arenas, but definitely into the scientific arenas and wherever this devil is now trying to reshape the map, even of the cosmos. He is trying now to take over information that he's found on Mars, Venus, Mercury, and the moons of Jupiter. Now, to get black folks to think off the planet, no, out of their neighborhood is hard enough. But to get you to stretch your mind above the clouds is like asking too much, because what would happen? Christianity would collapse. All world religions would collapse. All the bullshit that goes into you going to church and putting in what amounts to being over $15 billion a year for God. For God. Because God, whoever this one is for the Christians, that motherfucker never seemed to have enough money. Never seemed to have enough money. See, if he was black, he wouldn't be needing all that much money. Not unless he was pimping. Think about it. Think about it. That's why I call him Creflo Pimper Dollar. Lobo Creflo. And TD Snakes. All of them. Were we here before? You damn Skippy. Look at this. The amazing megaliths of the Andes. At the leveling off of the hill overlooking the Cusco Valley in Peru is a colossal fortress called Sacsayhuaman. One of the most imposing edifices, what? Ever constructed. Now the white man know he ain't had nothing to do with that. He can't even imitate that. He don't even know the science of taking earth and making earth into that. It's like the science of taking nothing and making something. He's still trying to figure out how the hell they got it so precise. Why did they get it that way? You want to know why they got it that way? Why do you think they got it that way? Why do you think they fitted it that way? Partly. But think, why would you set the stones in certain ways? Hallelujah! White man's trying to get himself hooked into some earthquake technology. How does your edifices survive earth movements? There it is. Archaeological evidence. They can't even slip a piece of paper in there. This is how bad you were. And I'm not just saying they were, because we back.
That's right.
We are back. And we claiming it. And you know only one kind of us would have to stand right there. Humble. Yeah, this is us. Get to know it. Get to know it. And this is an old photo of Kutsu. And this is the book. It's called what? Technology. Of the who? God. Of the who? God. That's who we were. Now, let's look at it from another perspective. And you have to excuse me because these are red hot. These are hot off the press, y'all. I feel them back. Now, in looking at this, they took what was known as a scalar photograph. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is for you all. You have to take this a step at a time before we start getting off the planet. All right? Don't rush it. Just follow with me. Check the science. Why do you think our edifices stayed up that long? White man shit, what, 20 years? It's coming down, it's crumbling, it's falling apart. How is it that we knew what to do? Because we understand that stone is alive. And that once you exact or extract the scientific principles within the life process that is the stone, the living stone can then set up specific energy vortexes that once connected and combined geometrically would automatically, like a marriage, stay in place. But these motherfuckers just slap a little bit of concrete together, put it up. That's not how we work. And we didn't need no slaves. We use anti-gravity. Sound and light technology. Something that they just now catching up. Anybody here really believe that the white man ever invented anything? Smart group. Now look at the scalar technology to see how all of this was done. This is below the surface. Everything fitting perfectly. Another shot. This is the wall. As it goes up and around the whole city. Now, about 10 years ago, I got into some trouble with some brother friends and sister friends in the Kemetic community because I said that Kemet wasn't the total flavor. That Kemet was nothing more than a survival unit of who we really were. And that the people who inhabited Kem were the sons of men. And that Kem was built by the sons of God. And that out of Sirius B, Nibiru, and all the rest of these planets, which is actually a ship, just like the moon, all of these civilizations, all of these dynasties were nothing more than the byproduct of a survival unit after a great atomic war. Oh, this brother is out of his mind. Atomic war? Yeah, atomic war. What was the evidence for the atomic war? The evidence is in how they treated the victims. And the evidence to find out how they treated the victims is in the Papyrus of Ani, as well as in the, what's the first medical book ever made? Ebers Papyrus.
Oh, you have a book?
The Ebers Papyrus gives evidence of what really happened in Kem, because the Kemites were people who were so healthy that they bathed 5 and 6 times a day. They ate nothing but the best foods. They were scientists. They were the best farmers. They were the best everything. Everything that white folks are trying to teach us about homo farming and organic farming, we did. But all of a sudden something happened. And a book had to be written. And in that book, all of the symptoms matched directly with the symptoms of those victims from Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You had an Ito people with pustules on their skin. with women who couldn't hold on to babies. And in that book and all the other papyruses like they were had forever, all the other medical books, all of them spoke about a great travesty in time, a great trauma. So, at that time, when I was saying that the evidence shows that there was a great war, and that they have documentation about that great war, and they even showed hieroglyphics of what the machine, the weapons look like, as well as the ships and what they look like. Something happened. Brother called me up and said, "Get Nexus." Why? Why? He said, "Get Nexus." I got Nexus. And you know what they said? The evidence for ancient atomic warfare. Bing, bang, boom. Now, you know, sometimes when you become Americanized as a Melanite people, you tend to look at everything that the Caucasian gives you in the form of fantasy and science fiction as something that comes out of his imagination. That, where is he getting all this good stuff from? Well, he's going back into your records, from the Vatican, from out of the British Museum, from out of the Cairo Museum, as you will see. The archaeological evidence is there. There are something called tektites. Tektites, essentially, are glass-like crystals that only are formed under intense heat, and the heat has to be so intense that it has to be thermonuclear. And they're beginning to find evidence of it in the pharaoh's tombs and in layers of sand below the present layer that now exists in Kem. Because Kem was not full of sand at the time when Kem was at its highest. Kem was almost like rainforest. Kem was fertile. The sand came after the Great Tribulation. And when they first found the so-called Sphinx, it was buried up to its neck. So they asked, okay, let's see what the geologists had to say about this. The geologists were then called in, and it found that it would take something in the avenue of 50 to 60,000 years to have caused the kind of erosion of rock and wind changes for it to have brought the sand up to the neck or up to the face of the Sphinx. So these people who think that the pyramid was built 6,000 years ago by Khufu, Khufu simply went up inside of it where he was shown the different places, and of course I'm going to do something else on the pyramid sometime later on. This I'm just going to cover it over to kind of whet your appetite. But Khufu just climbed up inside and put his name in there like you would put graffiti. He ain't had a damn thing to do with building it. Now when white folks tell black folks that, it's like, oh shit, somebody from outer space did it. And this little green man that did it. See, the white man is playing with your head because we came from outer space. Come on. Why do you think our ancestors are so hooked into the Orion and Sirian connection? What is going on between Orion and Sirius that these so-called Egyptians were so preoccupied with? Why were they always shooting their telescopes, building their edifices to shape and face these two constellations? Because they knew where home was. Why did the Dogon? Why did the Dogon keep the secrets of the Nomo for 300 years before this devil crawled up from out of the cave, knuckle dragging as he was? And when he came there, they said secretly that, what was this big celebration that you're getting ready for? Olutumeri said, we're celebrating the funeral of a great old man. They know what that meant. 65 years later, they found out what that meant. 65 years hence, they told them there was not just a Sirius A, but a Sirius B and a Sirius C.
That's right.
How the hell did they know it? Do you know what one person said? And I saw the interview myself. Coincidence. White people cannot face the fact that they have been so brutal, so vicious to the very gods that they worship. And yes, we fell. We fell because we were at war with one another. And the game of the war going on between Orion and Sirius will be another lecture.
Another lecture.
A whole other lecture. Because that's a serious toe-to-toe, baby. And when you find out what the deal is, whoo, get ready, because the ship is coming.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. The reason why I took this in the NASCAR plane in Peru. This is in the NASCAR plains of Peru. This is a whale. This is a hummingbird. And the only way these devils saw it was by the air. Now how in the hell you could draw something as precise as that unless you weren't hovering over the top and directing it from below? Now they're saying, well, we found out now that they put this up there. Why? To show airborne travelers where water was. So what was happening? Where were they shuttling from and to? This was an indicator for fresh water for our space traveling ancestors. Huh? Makes you begin to question the fact that you just had bones in your nose and that you were somehow nothing more than priests with long robes and had nothing to do but teach the world. You didn't know flight until the Wright brothers came along. Right? That what they tell you? More evidence. Now I want you to look at this. This too is in the NASCAR plains of Peru. Another design. And these estuaries are not roads. The only road is here that the white man made. This is the vantage point from a mountain looking down. If there's another road, it was cut right here. But it's not actually a road. This is an irrigation ditch that they found out. Because an old white woman, when she was sitting on the top of the mountains of Peru, began to look aside and see these things happen. When the wind had blown and everything had settled, she came back the next night and began to see these designs showing up. So what she began to do was to clean up and then put down little white chalky sands in all the grooves that she could find. And all of this began to come up. White folks didn't make this. They did not make this. And the reason why I am giving a little split of extraterrestrial archaeology is because it's time for us as a people to stop looking up as well. We got to look beyond the constraints of the terrestrial history where they want to confine us to. Because they're already in places where our extraterrestrial history is being studied. And if we don't keep up with this beast, he will create the perception of reality through the truth that he established. And he will be teaching your children, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. But we won't deal with it as a reality. So, sometimes I'm a little bit ahead of my time, 4 or 5 years, and then after everybody starts speaking about it, I'm on to something else. I want to just kind of give you a little pieces of this so that you can see the evidence for yourself and say, well, you know, that nigga lies. That nigga lie, that nigga lie. No, I don't. This was in Discover Magazine, 2000. Look at this. Thank you. Had nothing whatsoever to do, can that be seen? Had nothing whatsoever to do with white folks. What is that? So perfectly made. So geometrically precise. Take a look at how these things end at a specific point. Look at the area of the mountains. Look at the off-road here. And how it cuts into the mountains. Who knows whether or not the brothers and sisters use lasers to create these estuaries? We have to think beyond that point. More evidence. How do you explain this? Extraterrestrial graffiti. We are yet to understand why this man was made at this precise point. We are yet to understand what it is that this particular capsule means right here. What does that deer there mean? What does the snake here at the bottom mean? What are these circles here? They say the circles are actually the divots cut out by the tracks of those who built this road around here to see what that was. But again, all around him, these are supposed to be points in the Syrian star system. And what are we? Just carrying spears, waiting for white people to deliver us? Waiting for Jesus to come. We did all this shit waiting for Jesus to come. One more along these lines so that you can see that they took an actual drawing and they actually geometrically put on a chart up above what was happening down below. Look at the intricate lines that their computer extracted from off the earth. This was extracted from out of the earth by what they call scalar technology. Scalar technology can shoot a beam at least 30 to 50 to 100 yards into the earth and see what's under the earth. And they found a continent in the Antarctic that has pyramids, gold temples, at the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle, a crystal pyramid that they dare not dig up for what it might unleash, a dimensional doorway. In the North Pole, they found an entrance going into the center of the earth. They have jets from the United Nations flying over it so that nobody passes over it, because when Perry took his exhibition up through the North Pole, he flew his plane into or over what he thought was land that belonged to the earth that he knew. But he flew for something like 400 to 500 miles and began seeing big-ass dinosaurs. Tried to radio back. This is in files. Tried to radio back and say, where the hell am I? Am I in Greenland? Nobody radioed back. When he did his about face, because he was running out of, for the place where he entered into that space to where he was running out of gas, so he had to get back. When he got back, he began to examine the icebergs that came out of there and found pollen, leaves, dead birds, which were phyla that never existed on the surface. Why is it that icebergs are freshwater? Does it rain in the Antarctic? Does it snow? Yes. But does it rain? How does those big ass become fresh water on top of salt water? Nobody's asking that question, because there's an estuary leading from out of the earth. In fact, in Look magazine of 1965, at the time when John Glenn went up, they took a shot of the earth at that time, and they saw this gigantic hole at the North Pole. And ever since then, national security made sure that any photographs of the North Pole were airbrushed out. You see before you actual runways. Now I'm asking you to look at these aerial photographs for what are to come later on. Because when you begin to look at the terrain of other planets, you have to know, or at least understand, how the eye would then view something from distances such as that. You would have to know that these are what? Man-made and woman-made. So when I'm showing you these photographs, and I'm showing you these symbols right here that I took from the magazine, I am showing you the potential of what lies off your planet. We don't know because we haven't walked there in a long time. So what we need to do is to see this and all the potentials for what they're discovering here and what those cameras from those satellites are bringing back. Am I lying? No, I'm not. I want you to look at this very carefully. This was found in an ancient Kemetic tomb in 1898. In fact, when they found it, they didn't know what it was. Because at the time, the design and the model for an airplane didn't exist. In fact, the model was used by Hughes to perfect his flying machine and to create the jet that now became what you see today. What does it say here? This apparent model of an airplane was found in an Egyptian tomb in 1898 and kept in the Cairo Egyptian Antiquities Museum in 1969. It was brought to the world's attention by Dr. Khalil Messiah because he noticed that the bird, catalog 6347, had straight wings and a fin tail. That's the model, as taken from a shot above. But, wait a minute. You might say, chance. No other evidence exists. And ow!
Come on.
Huh? I know you think I'm crazy, right? Gotta be a little bit crazy. Now, I want your eyes for a minute to scan what you're looking at. Scan it and look at it deeply. Especially the bottom line. We know what this is. Look at that. See it? What does that look like? But where do you think they found that at? There it is. And look what else they found. A goddamn helicopter. Everybody said, well, shit, what the fuck is that? What are you talking about? Holy moly, what is that? Okay, look at it again. The symbols of Abydos look identical to the modern helicopter, a rocket, a flying saucer kite, and a jet. Here's the helicopter. Here's the jet. We got to look at or look for the saucer. This is a pillar right here, by the way. That's on the pillar where it was found. Saucer. Jet. Helicopter. Helicopter? Goddamn copter? Ain't nothing new under the sun. And ain't nothing the white man can ever claim he ever made.
Tell the truth.
I don't give a shit what it is he looks like he is inventing. He didn't invent the microchip. He didn't invent shit. He's a pimp. He's a thief. The fucking plagiarizer. He steals every damn thing. He came here stealing. What makes you think he didn't steal everything else? But wait! We can even get deeper. Let's go to South America. Let's not even go to Kim anymore. Let's go to South America. Now, you know, you say, well, damn, why ain't nobody else ever telling us this shit? Because ain't nobody else crazy enough to want to do shit like this. You get a reputation for thinking people, you know, telling people you can't go out of space and shit.
That's why you're a code breaker. Right?
Yeah, you got to be a code breaker. Because they want you to think that I'm crazy. They want you to think I'm nuts. So that you don't believe. And when you start talking about spaceship, people want to say, oh, boy's a little bit, we love him, but he's a little bit crazy. No, we not. Our ancestors were bad. And we give them props not only for what it is they did to survive, but we give them props when they thrive. You see what I'm saying? We always give a celebration for ancestors because they went through some hardship. Hell yeah, everybody goes through some fucking hardship. But what is happening when we were at our stage and our best and our genius stage?
Yes.
Huh? The white man never lets us a chance to even get next to that. Because it'd be too much like right. The damn thing has a cockpit. It's a damn jet.
Sophisticated jet.
Yes! It's even so sophisticated that the white man took the schematics and put it over one of his own. And it shows it. And this is what? A solid gold model of an aircraft on show at the State Museum in Bogota, Colombia. It and several others like it have been called religious feathers, bees, birds, stingrays, and other things. Technical tests prove that it is airworthy. Huh? It's airworthy. They put the shit next to an X-15. They drew a schemata of it and showed you it from the front to the back. Look at it. Now you tell me something. Tell me something, y'all. Huh? You want to join the crazies? You want to join me now? Be crazy with me? Look at this shit. Huh? Look at it. They even put a little line over there to tell you where the cockpit was. The man can sit to the back. Got his instrument panel right here. Facing you. At least they were a little bit more creative than these motherfuckers. They got faces and shit on their jets. Right. You can tell it was us. You can tell it was us, man. What's up with that, man? You know, what the fuck did we do with our Pimp-mobiles, man? You imagine what we did with our Cadillacs? When we wanted to lean? We're the ones that give these white boys all the shit to do. You know, then they dress like us. They do everything we do. But this was solid gold. Imagine what the planes looked like out there back at the time when we had it like that. Come on. Here goes something else that's deep, taking us deeper and further back. For further proof that we weren't just sitting on this planet waiting for the white man to come.
Yes.
This was in Assyria. Depiction of a winged disc. When you say, well, that could be Heru, or this could be steam. And how do we know that's real? Because look, you got pictures of a rocket here. You got pictures of a star, the sun, and this in the air. Now, when you look at it from this perspective, you see it. 3 men or gods are apparently hovering in a flying machine. But you say, Brother Valentine, how could you be sure that we knew what we were doing? Easy. the Vimanika Shastra. Now check the drawing down here. You think they would just have a motherfucker up there floating? Like nothing? Remember what you just saw? Huh? Book 2, the Vimanika Shastra. Do you know what the Vimanika Shastra is? The Vimanika Shastra is an ancient Dravidian book all about machines.
Check it out.
There it is.
There it is. And they said, this is the people. Look, Vimanika Shastra, all what? Boy, the more you find out, the more pissed off you get. And what it is that they're teaching our children in school. And why it is they're teaching our children the way they are. Huh? What's going on? Now, all about machines, as revealed to Venerable Pundit Sabaraya Sastri and recorded in handwritten Sanskrit manuscript form. Translated into English by this white boy. Founder director of the International Academy of Sanskrit Research. Look who it was, where it was found. When? 1908 in the Royal Baroda Library. What were the table of contents in the book? This book is at least 10,000 years old. And don't believe it's just about maybe 200 or 300 years, because that's the propaganda they're going to let you know. Look at what's going down. Definition. What's number 2? It's scary to think that we've been bamboozled.
Okay.
Hoodwinked. How bamboozled? How hoodwinked? Huh? I even took it upon myself, because I got the book, to put a few pages down. Now the Sanskrit is on one side and the English is on the other. But it's breaking down. In the first stanza, the reference is to teaching the sacred works. Uttara, Tepaniya, Shaibya, Prasna, Ketaka, Munduka, Kriya. That symbolic letter Om leads to the knowledge of God and salvation. Om was the hum of the engine. Om was the sound of the universe as it was contained within the light technologies. And as the light technologies expressed themselves, the sound that opened up dimensional doors, not only outside of yourself, but inside yourself, was the sound Om. The other sound, which gave you the 90-degree pathway into the next dimension, was Hu, H-U, which is what Dronvelo Melchizedek is telling you about in the Flower of Life technology. Dropping it. Now this is, I don't know what the hell this is, so I have to go to India to try to get the rest of this. Refers to a name by as whatever that is. Now this thus defines the word Vimana. Vega Samyat vimanu andrajanam. Or, owing to similarity of speed with birds, it is named Vimana.